What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another Honda video. So I know you guys probably just saw that little time lapse. I may cut some spots out, but basically I was jacking the car back up because I did end up scraping. I scraped coming out of my driveway, pulling out of my driveway. So I didn't think that would be the way that I'd end up scraping, but that's the way it turned out. So I want to be able to pull out of my driveway. So I raised it up. It kind of looks like a lot right now, but I'm hoping it settles a little bit. If not, I might go back down a little bit because we are pretty, I don't know, it's okay. I think that honestly, the wheel wells and the tire setup right now would look so much better if I fix the camber. Because the camber towing the top of the tire in, it just it makes it look like there's a huge gap there, but there's really not that big of a gap. When you actually get down here, you can see. So I think if the tire didn't have as much camber, especially in the back, it would look lower, I guess. That's what I think. But yeah, so I'd like to get the camber kit in the works for this thing, but basically what I did was, just adjusted the coilovers. I have some measurements right here. So basically the measurements of the fender height, I took front right, front left was 24 3/8 and 24 1/2. And then what I did was the coilover collar, they were both set to 2 1/4. So I cranked them to 2.75, so 2 3/4. And that actually got me right around, I think I'm at 24 1/2 on this side now, or no, I'm sorry. I think it's 25, something like that. I measured, but it did get me up a little bit, but I think it'll settle. So I'm gonna wait to take a final measurement. But I definitely do have more clearance up front. I have 5 inches of clearance now, which it's still pretty low. I'd like it to be lower, honestly, but if this is what it takes for me to clear everything, then it is what it is. It's more purpose than it is visual, so I think it's going to do the job. I'm going to get a rear lip for it as well. I found one that's not too much money, so I'm going to get that coming along with a spoiler, and I got a grill in mind. So I want to get all the body mods situated before it gets painted, obviously. As far as progress on the door here, I really just have left it with the lightweight filler, just covering all the bare metal. I still have to weld this hole and this other hole right here. I was thinking about maybe trying to start that tonight, just so I can get some primer on this door too and have these repairs sort of finalized sooner rather than later. I did get overspray all over the side skirt, but that's not a big deal because I'm going to be sanding that anyway, and I would like to paint those, so I'll be sanding it and priming it, so no biggie. But I did go around the whole car and use an expo marker to mark all of the areas that need work. So all the dents like that one, and there's a couple on the fender, and then this whole area is kind of lumpy. I'm not sure if it's I don't even know if it's people leaning on the car or me leaning on the car when I worked on it, but it's all lumpy on the fenders there, so that's got to be worked out. The hood I didn't mark because the hood's open, but there's definitely some front bumper stuff. There's more dents on this fender too, this one, and then more lumps, and one on the roof back there. Nothing much on these doors. There's one here, there's probably more on the roof. I'll find more when I'm sanding. But as far as in the back, I'm going to need a new rear bumper. I want to figure out the cheapest way to get a bumper. I don't know if it's going to be going to the junkyard, because the ones online are $250, and I just think that's ridiculous. So I'd like to get one for a lot cheaper. I think $100 or less would be nice. So I don't know, maybe I'll just keep checking Craigslist and stuff for a bumper that's not all smashed in like this. But yeah, so those are all the dents and damage for the most part. So not too much to fix other than the door stuff. Oh yeah, there's this one pillar here too. So this is a pretty good size ding in there. So we got to fix that. And this thing's going to get there eventually. But yeah, I think tonight I'm going to start welding on this door a little bit. After I raised it, now we're good to drive it everywhere. I also am having this other problem. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe if some of you guys know a thing or two about it, you could help me out. But I was driving on the highway and I was tuning fourth gear the last time I was driving it. And I tuned fourth gear pretty good. I had it pretty dialed. I was really liking the air fuels. They were around 11.5. And I tuned the higher RPMs where it actually starts to fall off of the power. So it was ending up being a little bit rich. It was 10.2 or something like that. So I pulled some fuel out of it there, got it to read, 11.5s all the way up to redline, which was awesome. And then I get off the highway and I was doing a third gear pull, and the car was like up the RPM range. It was like getting leaner and leaner as we started to go up. So I'm like kind of confused. I'm not really sure if like the car should be running off the same area on the map. Like the tune should be the same in third gear and in fourth gear, because it's wide open. You're making the same boost, making say 10 pounds of boost in both gears, and you're running the RPMs like you would normally. So I mean, it's a different speed the RPMs are at, but I don't think it should actually matter. I know they always tune Hondas in fourth gears on dynos and stuff like that, so I feel like it shouldn't make a difference doing it in third gear. So I don't know, I don't think it's like a different load on the motor. My one theory that I had was on the way home, the car kind of got to about a quarter of a tank, because this thing chugs through gas, especially when I'm doing like consecutive highway pulls. This thing's just really chugging through gas. And so like on the way there, I had around a half a tank or a little bit less. And then on the way back, I kind of had like a little bit less, more like a quarter of a tank. So I was reading some stuff about how these high flow pumps don't really like to run good wide open, pumping all that fuel with just a quarter of a tank. They can kind of suck a little bit of air. So I'm curious as to if I change, or as to if I add fuel, that those symptoms go away. So that's something that I want to see. It's raining out, so I won't really be able to do third gear pulls tonight, but at some point soon I want to fill it up with gas and try the whole thing again and see what happens, because that's definitely something I got to work out. Maybe I got to tune the car in third gear and just have it be rich in fourth, which would be a bummer, because I feel like you're missing out on power. I could do maybe per gear fuel corrections, so I could correct lift differently in third and fourth, but it's fine regularly. It's only like when I'm wide open. So I don't know. Just something that I gotta work through, just one of those issues. So if you guys have any insight, definitely let me know. Appreciate it. So I started getting some tacks on this guy right here. I just get out of the light. I made a little piece that fit in the area, and I've just been tacking it, but I'm waiting a long time in between tacks, and I don't want to warp this panel. It's like double thickness sheet metal there, so I'm probably not likely to warp it. I definitely got to be careful on this one though. I ground this one and I did make a little piece. I don't know what I did with it, but I made a little piece for this one, and I'm gonna try to tack this one in as well so I can switch back and forth. And the fender ones I'll save for a later date, but if I can get those two done and then get some filler on there, then I can go ahead and maybe fill this other dent and give this door a prime and get it ready just like the one behind it, and we can move on to another part of the car. So that's the goal tonight, is to get both of these welded in and maybe get some filler on them. I think that's a good goal, and then we'll worry about fixing the dent and priming it maybe another night. So it's the following day and I am back at it. I didn't actually get to throw any Bondo on it last night, but I'm just finishing up here. I've realized that I think the way I warped the other panels was probably from the grinding, because I totally underestimated how much heat grinding actually makes. And I know why a lot of people use like a thick die grinder wheel and just kind of hit it just lightly, very lightly, because you really can't hit this too hard or else it's going to get really hot. Like just a couple seconds of 36 grit paper on this guy, and honestly it already gets pretty warm. So you just want to keep feeling it, and if it's too hot for you to touch, then you probably should back off. So I have been trying to feel it the whole time and make sure, grind for a couple seconds, feel it, do one spot weld, and then I feel it before I do the next spot weld to make sure that it's not still warm. I let it cool down. So I'm trying really hard not to warp it. Hopefully it pays off. This is like taking a really long time, but I guess this might be the ticket. Hopefully I didn't warp anything. We'll just have to see once I put the filler on. But it's looking really good. Like I can tell this top edge feels smooth and it does not feel warped. So based on that, that's good. So I got most of the welds over here done. They're starting to look a little bit better. I'm sort of figuring out exactly what I'm doing. They're starting to stick a little better. I may throw one more weld on and then take a little while to grind it off. But yeah, we are getting there, and then filler is going on next. So what we're looking at back here is kind of ugly, and sorry, I forgot to turn my music off. But yeah, this is pretty ugly back here. We're gonna have to grind this a little bit too, because I want the inside of the door to look good as well. So I'm gonna have to work on that before I put any filler, because I don't want to heat it up and mess with the filler on the front side. So I'm gonna go ahead and grind that. Alright, so I got my filler on right here and over there too, and I did put some on the inside to cover that little section there, so I'll just like finger sand that relatively smooth. And I did also start to mess with some of this down here. This car doesn't have much rust, but the only rust it does have is at the bottom of these doors. So you might be able to see it, the light's kind of reflective, but there's some rust down there. I had the same thing on my truck, and what I did was I think I cut that whole lower piece down until I could get all the rust, and then I ground it all out as much as I could, and then I think I put some filler in there, or I think in this case I might do like more bead sealer once I get all the rust out, because once it starts it doesn't stop. So we got to get rid of this rust, and it kind of goes throughout the whole door. So I think my best bet is going to be to take the door off at some point, which I want to do when I paint the car anyway, because I want to paint the inside and everything. So when I'm doing the whole door and I have the whole door part, all the seals off to paint it, I think that's when I'll do the rust repair on that, which is going to be a pain. I don't really like rust repair, but it's got to be done because I want this car to last a long time. So it is what it is. I'll do the rust repair. But yeah, so far so good with this filler. It's looking pretty good. The car's looking straight, so all I got to do is tape off the fender, and I'm going to hit it with a block and see if it blocks out straight. Hopefully it does, and if not, more filler, but hopefully we'll be good. So I didn't really film another time lapse of me sanding because I figured you guys have seen enough of that, but basically after the Bondo dried, what I did was I went over it with 80 grit and I sanded everything till I liked how flat it was, and then I threw a bit of a guide coat on it, and then I went back with 180 and I hit everything, and then I kind of feathered all the edges, and I also sanded where this dent is right here with the DA sander, and I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of filler in that dent. And then after I sand that flat, and after I sand that flat, this door will be ready for primer. So then I think what I might do is maybe panel bond the fender and try to get that ready for primer as well, and that way, you know, I can prime that and the fender area at the same time, just because, I don't know, I might not too. Yeah, no, I might not. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I don't really know, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and fix that dent, and then we are, you know, another door down. So this door went so much better, so much easier. It feels really flat. It looks really straight. So I'm really pumped. I think that this is definitely a way better way to do it with the panel bonder. You're not going to be able to really tell, but it is flat. So I'm pumped about that. It looks really good. It's ready for primer basically. So I'm going to throw some filler in the dent, sand that down, and yeah, probably prime it. I don't know about tonight. I'll see what time it is. Maybe I can be gung-ho and get it done, but I'm not really sure. What is up, guys? So it is a couple nights later, and I just finished. I threw another coat of filler on the top dent there because I wasn't too satisfied with how it looked, or how it felt rather, but now I'm happy with it, and everything is looking pretty good. I'm happy with all the filler. I didn't show too much of it, but you guys have seen it. So yeah, this dent right here, the filler ended up being a little bit big, but hopefully it sands down flat with the primer. So yeah, overall, Looks really good. I'm really digging it. And yeah, I think we're ready for primer. I went ahead and masked everything off, so we should be ready to go. I'm just gonna clean up the floor a little bit over here with all the Bondo dust, and maybe I'll wipe the car down one more time, and then this thing's gonna get some primer. And yeah, then I guess we're ready to drive it again. So I'm ready to lay some paint down. I'm gonna go ahead and blow this thing off and go ahead and throw some primer on it. Alright guys, so it's the following day. I got this car outside. I took it to work today and it's doing great. It's driving great. Just took some more people for a ride, beat the crap out of it. It was a car full of 4 people total, so it was kind of slow, but still get all the cool noises. But this door looks really good. I'm pretty happy. I think it's going to turn out really awesome. So I guess the next step, I might either start doing the other doors on the other side, which still have the body side molding that I got rid of. But yeah, that looks like crap. I'm so glad I got rid of that. Check this out. Much better. Wait till there's some actual paint on it. It's gonna look so good. But yeah, I did raise the car up a bunch like I said, and I just took it for a drive, and I had the car loaded down with 4 people, and I still scrape coming out of my driveway. So honestly, I think I might leave the ride height right here just because I'm still scraping, but I think if I pull out in the right orientation, I might be okay. I might just raise the back up a little bit to meet the front, and then if I get a camber kit, I think it'll look less tucked in like that, and I think it'll look better. But I don't think the ride height is too bad. It still looks really low, so I'm pretty happy. Yeah, so I think that might be where I leave it. But yeah, I'm really glad I'm getting rid of those body side moldings. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this another bodywork video, but hopefully we can vary it up a little bit here. I'll maybe do a little bit of dent repair. I actually have a customer's car that I'm working on right now. I need to do some body work on that, so the body work does not stop. But yeah, we'll see. This thing's getting there. Hopefully you guys enjoy these bodywork videos, and maybe they're a little boring, but it is what it is. I got plenty of bodywork to do, so we're gonna keep at it until this thing gets done. I did order my new spoiler, so that's gonna be coming in soon, so I'm pretty stoked about that, but I have to wait and see when that gets here. But yeah, thanks for watching guys. Peace out. Don't forget to like and comment and subscribe.